Spoiler alert, this isn't your typical journey of a photographer who's had a camera in hand since childhood age. No. I accidentally fell into photography, and once I did unintentionally find a passion in this and pursue a career path in this industry, I found myself in a toxic work environment. I was made to feel not good enough and like I would never make it. But with some persistence and surrounding myself with the right people, I was able to put myself back out there, and I am now a full-time wedding photographer here in Sydney. Hi, my name is Shennen, and I am a co-owner and photographer for the Peppergreen Wedding Company here in Sydney, alongside with Russell Stafford, who is the founding father of Peppergreen. He's gonna get so mad I said that. Part 1, how I fell into photography. Okay, so you might be wondering, Shennen, you said you hated photography at the start. How did you even come to that or get past that? Well, to understand how I got there, we kind of have to rewind a little bit. So growing up, I had two major interests. It was the piano and anything music related, and then aviation. Very different. I had all of my aspirations growing up leaning towards becoming a pilot, and at the age 13 I joined the Australian Air Force Cadets. Now I got very close to starting this career path because I got very luckily rewarded the Royal Australian Air Force flying scholarship, and I was starting my flying hours. I was getting trained up and flying light aircraft, but the realization that going into this industry with severe motion sickness was not a fun mix. So I felt like the rug had been pulled out from under my feet and was left feeling, what next? So I kind of went towards my other interest, which was the piano and music, and decided to enroll myself in university to do a Bachelor of New Media Art, majoring in music and sound media. Now, as part of this degree, we had to elect a minor subject as well, and graphic design wasn't something I wanted to do, and I was awful at drawing, so digital illustration just didn't make any sense. So by process of elimination, that left photography. And that first year, I was absolutely awful. Learning all of the technical mumbo jumbo and just how cameras work, the theory of it, things like the exposure triangle, I just did not understand. And to be honest, I think my lecturer just gave me sympathy points for a lot of my assignments. So that brings us to part 2, discovering my passion in photography. So in my second term of my second year, I was completing an assignment where I had to display an understanding of studio lighting. And this is where it all truly clicked for me. Now don't get me wrong, the work I produced was still super amateur, it was awful still. But the actual coming together, since I was working with a local hair and beauty salon, some local models, and just in the studio environment, being able to like direct everything, everyone having their creative input, their vision all come together, and we created this thing from my hands and know-how with a camera. It was thrilling to say the least. And honestly, that creation, I was like, wow, I get it. I absolutely get it. I felt so accomplished and fulfilled afterwards, and just hearing the feedback from everyone who was involved as well in seeing the finished product, it was just elation. So having had experienced that, I was like, wow, this is something I want to do. There's something here. And remember when I said this clicked for me in the second term of my second year? Well, that's important because that was the cutoff for people or students in this degree to change their major subject. So I was enrolled as a music major at the time with a minor in photo media, and I was like, no, we're gonna have to switch this around. And the deadline was a week out when I made this decision. So I was able to graduate with a Bachelor of New Media Art, majoring in photo media. And I was even able to do the graduate address as well at my graduation ceremony, which was definitely one of those high accomplishments for myself, and I was very proud. to have been given that opportunity and honor to do so. Everything just felt like I was on the right career path and I was doing everything right at that time. But as a little side note, if I was to do this all over again, knowing that my passion was going to be in photography and that I wanted to pursue a wedding photography specifically, I definitely wouldn't go back and do this degree. You don't need a degree to get into wedding photography, but that's a whole video in itself. Part 3, embracing the journey. So once it all clicked and I realized that, hey, I actually love this, I started to follow the rabbit down the rabbit hole and tried to learn as much as I could. I spent so much time on YouTube, reading up digital photography magazines, anything I could, as I felt like our uni lectures were quite rigid and a bit old school and stuffy. So I was trying to learn everything I could to try and just get myself that one step above the rest and start something here. I also really dabbled in a lot of styles of photography as well. So I tried families, newborns, landscape, event parties as well. Pretty much anything except weddings at the time. I'd pretty much sworn off weddings as I could not imagine at the time being responsible with such a monumental event of someone's life and couldn't imagine the stress that came with that. So having realized that that's what I once thought and felt I could never do in my wildest dreams to now this is all I do, seeing the growth there is actually really humbling, and yeah, it feels nice to see the growth there. So a year after graduating, I knew that this was something I wanted to put my absolute all into and make a career in this industry in some way, shape or form. So I packed everything I owned that could fit into my 2004 Toyota Corolla at the time and made the 3-day drive down to Sydney, Australia, from where I lived and grew up in North Queensland. So that brings us to part 4, challenges and being knocked down. Hard. So for the first 6 months living in Sydney, I was starting to get my footing. I'd done a few family photos. I wanted to try and get myself out there, start freelancing a little bit for other studios, gain some experience. And so I started following all these different photographers and studios that were local to Sydney. It seemed like the stars had aligned perfectly, as one of the studios I had started following, they actually reached out to me and said I might be perfect for the recent vacant trainee position that they had available. And I was ecstatic, but it just all seemed too good to be true, and it was. Now, I won't name the studio, they're still in operation till today, but I will preface it with this, that I did gain a lot of experience and insight from this studio, and the photographer is very talented as well. However, in a nutshell, I was expected to work and shoot exclusively for them and for longer than full-time hours, essentially for free. And the work that I was able to invoice for wasn't being paid for up to 4 months at a time at one point, which put a very heavy strain on me financially, since there was that contractual agreement that I would shoot and work for them exclusively. So there were things there that weren't done right and weren't fair at all. On top of that, there was constant bullying, and I was just made to feel small and talentless and told that I would never make it out there on my own, and that I should be thankful that I was still allowed to work for him under his studio. So in hindsight, I have no idea how I allowed myself to stay in this toxic work environment for almost 2 years, but he had a way of making me feel trapped and obligated to stay. In the end, I managed to get myself out of there, but obviously after the whole ordeal and experience, I found my passion was very squashed and just wasn't really there anymore. I had developed a level of anxiety when it came to wedding photography, and it was very difficult to shake the voice of self-doubt in my head. So after that, it probably took me another whole year before I felt ready to get myself back out there. So part 5, nurturing my passion and bouncing back. At this point, I definitely felt like I was starting at ground zero again. I really had to push to find my self-confidence again and convince myself that, hey, you have a talent here and you love doing this, remember? So after I managed to leave that studio, I was offered a job by a past client to help run their physiotherapy practice, and I'm still close friends with them still to today. And then I also became best friends with Amy Chan, who is a successful wedding hair and makeup artist. And she was the one that actually gave me the big push to hit send on an Instagram story reply, which has led me to where I am today. Cue Russell Stafford Photography. So Russell and I connected on the same bad jokes, antics, but also more importantly, outlook when it came to preserving a couple's very special memories in this important milestone of their life, their wedding day. So what started as an assistant role became primary second shooter role, became an extra few hours a week to also help with marketing, to then a few days a week to help with client administration, etc. To then me being able to cut back completely the physiotherapy job that I was also juggling at the time, to just purely having all of my income coming from photography streams again, whether it be shooting for Russell, freelancing for other studios, helping Russell in the office for his own admin work, but also I was getting my own brand off the ground as well. Now, Russell proposed that we become business partners as our vision for ourselves and our businesses truly aligned, and we also had strengths that complemented each other as well, and we made a really good team together. So it just really made sense, and we had a lot of fun working together as well. But mind you, we are not married, contrary to what a lot of people assume. But no, we're just business partners. He has a wonderful wife, Queenie, and they have a daughter as well, who's currently 3.5 at the time, and then I have my partner, Nick. Yeah, just wanted to put that out there. So ever since we joined forces, we have grown Pepper June to what it is now. And so we don't just offer wedding photography, we also do videography, photo booths, guest books, as well as wedding cars as well. So we've got 2 classic London taxis. One is named Penelope, one is named Winston. Part 6, gratitude and looking forward. As much as this whole journey has been a roller coaster ride for me, I truly wouldn't change a thing. I've made so many special and meaningful connections and relationships with people, and if it weren't for some of the challenges I faced, I wouldn't be where I am now. And I'm just so grateful that past Shennen stuck it out. And looking forward, I hope that as this channel continues to grow, that it will turn into a resource capable of helping you grow and nurture your passion, whether it's in photography or not. Anyway, thank you so much if you've made it to the end of this video, and if you enjoyed, please do hit the like button. And if you're interested in seeing more content around what Russ and I do behind the scenes here at the Pepper June Wedding Co, we definitely have a lot of ideas when it comes to video content coming up. But if there's stuff in particular that interests you, that you want to see us create, please let us know, as I'm definitely excited to be able to grow this channel into something. Not sure exactly what it's gonna be, but it'll be something. And if you happen to relate to, were surprised by, or even found value in any part of my journey to becoming a wedding photographer, by all means, please leave a comment down below as well, and I look forward to connecting with you and starting a conversation there. Thank you again for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.